I'm so grateful to have been given the time to talk about my personal experiences. I don't feel like the public really see what it is like being a frontline doctor. They see a lot of politics, numbers, graphs, and rules, not actually what us NHS staff are going through on the front line. Hi guys, Badalia here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I show you all the behind the scenes action from my crazy life as a DJ and full-time doctor. I am so excited because this morning I was live on national TV on the Lorraine show talking about my brand new single, Calling For You. I thought I'd show you what setup and preparation goes into me appearing live on television. My media journey has been absolutely crazy. I did my first TV interview about 2 years ago. It was on Sky News. It was when I started doing my DJ sets in my scrubs in my kitchen. And I was invited onto Sky to talk about my DJing, but also to promote a new Sport England campaign to encourage people to work out safely at home. Since then, I've done so many more interviews of different formats. More light-hearted shows like Good Morning Britain, BBC Breakfast, but also more serious shows like ITV News, Sky News, Channel 5 News, where I talk about the situation in hospitals. For the more light-hearted ones, I don't feel nervous, I just feel really excited. But for the more serious ones, the truth is, when the producer's giving me that 10-second countdown that I'm gonna be live on air, my heart starts racing. I can start feeling it pumping out of my chest. But that's because they're difficult topics we're talking about, but there isn't necessarily a right or wrong answer, and they want my honest opinion as a doctor. Once I'm live in the conversation, I'm absolutely fine, and those nerves disappear. It is crazy though. To kick things off, a few days ago, I had a Zoom call with one of the producers from the Lorraine show. The purpose of this call was to discuss everything I've been up to, my current life as a DJ and doctor, and my plans over the coming months. This gives them the information they need to plan the show. Last night, I got my apartment set up for the broadcast in my kitchen, which is now a TV studio, I suppose. Probably the most famous kitchen in the UK. I pulled my decks out from the side of my kitchen counter to the center stage on my kitchen floor. I positioned my ring light in the center. I honestly believe that lighting is the most important thing to make yourself look good on television. The ring light is a perfect circle around my phone, which means that it lights me up without creating a shadow on me of the camera. I plugged my speaker in, turned my decks on. In the preparation of the music, it is so important to have a strong in point, meaning that when the track plays, it starts at a point that is really high impact. Because if I'm playing the song on TV, I don't know how many seconds I'll be able to play it for. I want it to be playing at the biggest moment in the track so that the viewers can enjoy it. I also positioned my laptop on the side out of view of my camera for a couple of reasons, which I'll tell you about in a minute. I also give the kitchen a bit of a tidy up, move things out of the way to make it look less cluttered. But the truth is, what makes this relatable is that it's actually my kitchen, where I've been doing DJ sets in my scrubs, and this has reached millions of people around the world. After setting up my kitchen, I then went to bed around 11 PM, but I couldn't sleep. And I normally can't sleep because my mind is so active. I'm very excited and I'm trying to think of every possible eventuality for the interview. Questions they might ask me, things that might go well, things that might not go as well as I'd hoped. A lot of overthinking happens, but this is fine. It's all because I'm so excited. I checked my phone at around 1 AM and I was still awake. And I think I fell asleep soon after that. I then woke up at 7 AM, got out of bed at 7:30, had a shave, had a shower, put my scrubs on, which say Badalia, personalised, and then went into my kitchen to finalise my setup. Had some water. I don't normally eat breakfast because I normally don't have an appetite with all the excitement and some nerves. But to be honest, I don't really get that nervous. It's just excitement. Once I was all set up, I had a phone call from the producer who I'd spoken to a few days ago, giving me the updates and the plan for the show. She told me exactly what the presenter had been briefed on, so I knew roughly what he was going to ask me during the interview. Everything was great and I was good to go. I then had a phone call with my manager, Wendy, who had arranged this interview, to check that I was happy with everything, to run through the possible lines of questioning, and to discuss the key messages that I wanted to mention during my interview. The most important one for this interview was to talk about my brand new release, Calling For You, which is now out on all major platforms. The reason I have my laptop set up on the side is because when I'm waiting to go on air for my interview, I can speak to my manager without it interfering with my phone, which is set up in the ring light in front of me. I can send over any questions I have, and I can also research any headlines in the news which could be relevant to my interview. I also check my emails from the people running events that I'll be performing at in the future so that I can deliver deliver the right information about the events that I'll be performing at, because ultimately the people watching me on TV want that information so they can see me live in the future. Once I'd spoken to my manager, the studio engineer gave me a call. We then set up my Skype. We checked the camera position, which is probably the hardest bit for me to set up, because to make sure I get my decks in and not crop out my head, the camera needs to be far enough away from me, yet close enough to the camera that my voice can be heard. It's a really fine balance to strike, but the studio engineer always helps me with this. I also recorded a little story on my Instagram to let my followers know that I was going to be live on Lorraine in about 20 minutes. I normally only tell my followers last minute because if there were any new breaking news stories, it's possible that I might not be on TV and I wouldn't want to let them down. But today was all good and I was top of the show at 9 a.m. It was such an amazing interview. It was with Andy Peters, a presenter who I've watched growing up as a child, and we spoke about my experiences in hospital, working in A&E, and in the intensive care unit, but also about my music career as a DJ, recently on tour with Fatboy Slim, and releasing my first record, Calling For You, which has been added to one of the biggest playlists on Spotify. I'm so grateful to have been given the time to talk about my personal experiences working in A&E and in the intensive care unit, explaining really how hard it has been for a frontline junior doctor. I don't feel like the public really see what it is like being a frontline doctor during a pandemic. In the news, they see a lot of politics, numbers, graphs, and rules, not actually what us NHS staff are going through on the front line. Alongside my hospital experiences, we spoke about N8 sessions, where I've been doing DJ sets in my scrubs to make people feel good, bring people together through the power of music, and use my platform to promote physical and mental well-being, both which are so important. After the interview, my manager Wendy gave me a call. We had a debrief to talk about all the things I did really well, but also the things that I maybe could have done slightly differently. I think this feedback is so important to making yourself grow. Even though the interview went to plan, I always like to think how I could have done things slightly differently. It's been such an exciting day so far and I'm really proud of that interview. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see more of on my channel. Have a great day and I'll see you guys really soon.